Today we are going to have a discussion on bullwhip effect, which is also known as snowball effect or Forrester effect. Bullwhip effect occurs when a small increase in demand at a downstream channel distorts upstream material requirement due to forecasting and material ordering variability. This results in increase in inventory placement orders at each level becoming larger than actual demand requirements. Or you can say bullwhip effect is a phenomena in which a small fluctuation in demand at the retail level can cause progressively larger fluctuations in demand at the wholesale, distributor, manufacturer and raw material supplier levels. For example, let's consider a retailer who sells on an average of 10 ice creams per day in the summer season. Following a heat wave, the retailer's sales increased to 30 units per day. In order to meet this new demand, the retailer increases their demand forecast and places an increased order on the wholesaler to 40 units per day in order to meet the new customer demand levels and to buffer any potential further increase in demand. This creates the final wave in the exaggerated demand being driven down the supply chain. The wholesaler, noticing this increase in demand from the retailer, may then also build an incremental increase into their forecast, so generating a larger order on the ice cream manufacturer. Rather than ordering 40 units to be manufactured, the wholesaler may order 60 units from the manufacturer. This will further exaggerate the demand down the supply chain and so creates a second wave of demand increase. The manufacturer, also feeling the increase in demand from the wholesaler, may also react to the increase by increasing their manufacturing run to 80 units. This creates a third wave in the exaggerating of demand. The retailer may run out of stock during the heat wave while the manufacturer is producing new stock and may take the option of switching to an alternative brand to meet customer demand. This will then create a false demand situation as sales appear to slump to next to nothing, so the retailer may then not place further demand for the original ice cream brand, even though the manufacturer has increased their production runs. Alternatively, if the weather changes and the end consumers slow down on purchasing ice creams, this could result in an overstock situation across the supply chain as each tier of the supply chain has reacted to the heat wave sales and increase their demand. This is an example of the waves and troughs in the bullwhip effect. In short, bullwhip effect occurs when the consumer's demand forecast is 10 units, the retailer orders 15 units in case demand increases, the distributor orders 20 units, the manufacturer buys material to make 40 units to lower costs. Result: between 1 and 10 units will be sold and 40 units have been manufactured that will not go to the market in the short term. And the problem compounds if the difference between actual demand and available stock throughout the supply chain continues to widen month on month. This mismatch can result from inventory problems and overproduction, equipment rental overruns, or extra staff hours. If the downward estimate is wrong, it can result in stock break that leaves the e-commerce business out of stock. It can also cause low production periods for manufacturers and logistical delays affecting end consumers. This is what happened in international trade in 2021, which led to a shortage of electronic products such as graphics cards, computers, or game consoles such as PlayStation 5. Causes of bullwhip effect. There are a number of causes of the bullwhip effect in the supply chain, but we are going to discuss few of them. Number one, lack of communication. One of the most common causes of the bullwhip effect is a lack of communication both internally and along the supply chain. Sharing information regarding shifts in demand, issues with production, and upcoming sales are key in avoiding issues. Your ability to fill orders relies entirely on maintaining a good flow of information since information provides you visibility. Due to unavailability of accurate information, every channel partner makes his own assumption of what the demand and supply will be like and places or larger orders to be able to supply in case of increased demand. This leads to higher orders being placed upstream. Number two, lead time. Lead time is one of the most important aspects of inventory control and directly impacts your ability to meet customer demand. Calculating lead time and planning accordingly ensures you avoid losses and can fulfill orders. However, if there is an issue anywhere along the supply chain, lead time increases for each remaining step. This makes it difficult to meet customer demand and causes greater inventory level fluctuations. Incorrect demand forecast. Demand forecast is complicated and requires setting and analyzing a wide range of inventory KPI and e-commerce KPIs. Any mistake along the way can lead to an inaccurate forecast. This in turn leads to an inability to meet demand or too much sitting inventory. There are also many external factors that can cause your forecast to be incorrect. Regularly conducting an inventory audit and reviewing and updating your forecast is the key. Number 4, too many discounts and promotions. Discounts and sales offer create a boom and bust cycle for products which lead channel partners to place higher orders upstream. This make each one to assume and stock higher. Hoarding and rationing. The retailer or distributor sometimes creates an artificial scarcity for a product, anticipating a price hike or a price reduction for the product. As a result, the customer tends to pay more or less than the original price of the product. In such case, bullwhip effect is visible in terms of excess inventory, poor customer service, and others. Large orders. When channel partners place very large orders over longer intervals, demand information travels slower, giving less information upstream, and larger quantities convey misleading ideas of demand. Safety stocks. Safety stock is the extra products ordered in anticipation of an increase in orders. Although they perform a useful function, they must mirror expected demand. Price fluctuation. Distributors often provide discounts and coupons to their customers for the purpose of increasing the demand. Such activities result in price fluctuations, which causes the customer to buy more than required or to wait for a favorable price before reordering or buying. This yields temporary benefits for one player in the supply chain but creates the bullwhip effect and increased cost stream. How to avoid bullwhip effect? The bullwhip effect can be mitigated through multiple strategies. We are going to discuss some of them. A demand driven enterprise strategy. A demand driven enterprise reduces the bullwhip effect by eliminating the forecast and using actual customer orders to drive production and distribution. Companies produce only sub-assemblies and modules, and finished products are delayed until receipt of the customer order. Products are built or assembled upon receipt of customer orders, and component demand is then pulled throughout the supply chain. A demand-driven enterprise strategy permits companies to substitute real information in place of a forecast, and actual demand is shared throughout the supply chain. It allows all the upstream participants to better anticipate incoming customer orders, and it moves the push-pull frontier closer to the customer. This permits final product assembly to be performed at postponement center. Collaborative Planning, Forecasting and Replenishment (CPFR) is used by a supplier and a customer to create a combined plan with a goal of meeting customer demand and having an integrated supply chain network. CPFR integrates processes between both parties, helping to synchronize actual demand, product forecasts, and production. It electronically exchanges point of sale data, POS, schedules, promotions, demand forecast, and inventory between both parties. This result in reduction in the bullwhip effect, enhanced visibility and velocity, early problem detection, and improved overall customer satisfaction. Improve order planning. The unsung hero of inventory management is order planning. Accumulate as much data regarding inventory levels and demand trends to order the optimal amount of each product. You should also factor in any safety stock needed and any upcoming sales or seasonal demand shifts for inventory reduction. Using demand planning software is a great way to optimize your order planning. Use of information technology. To avoid the bullwhip effect, IT can be used to gather, integrate, and report logistical data to show actual supply chain activity and avoid the bullwhip effect that occurs when partners forecast with incomplete data. Where does the bullwhip effect have its greatest impact? Though the bullwhip effect can negatively impact any stage of the supply chain, it most often has the greatest impact on raw material suppliers, since they are the last in the supply chain. Bullwhip effect originates from the downstream and consumer level, and it gets bigger and bigger after passing through each echelon, since all the intermediaries in a supply chain keep a buffer stock to handle unseen demand. Suppliers are last in the chain, so they are the ones who bear the significant brunt of the bullwhip effect. In the end, I would like to conclude my discussion by sharing an example of semiconductors. At the end of 2020, semiconductors were suddenly in short supply, bleeding edge chips powering the latest smartphones, gaming consoles, and 5G modems, as well as older models running cars and household appliances, could hardly be found at any price. Goldman Sachs estimates at least 169 industries faced disruptions as a result of the shortages. All this began with a relatively minor bump in consumer demand brought on by the pandemic. First, consumer spending tanked, then, a few months later, demand for all kinds of chip heavy gadgets rose unexpectedly as people set up home offices or sought out electronic diversions. The companies that built those devices then sent a wave of semiconductor orders rippling up the supply chain, which quickly overwhelmed the few chip foundries that manufacture virtually all of the world's computer chips. Shortages ensued. Viewers, if you find value in this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon. Thank you.